Welcome back, everybody. My name is Dragagon, and this is Greg Tech New Horizons. So when I left off the last time, I had just finished making my wire mill and bending machine. I've since been just letting my alloy smelter run. I'm going to go ahead and stop that here, though, so that it'll finish up with that. I replaced my wire mill with my bending machine because I was expecting to do some bending, and then I remembered that I had not made my extra circuit to go in there. I did have my list of stuff to make both the chemical reactor and the fluid solidifier, but I'm going to borrow the at least one, for a short time anyway, at least one of these circuits that I'm about to make in order to run the bending machine in order to get the rest of what I need in order to make this stuff. So let's go ahead and start down here. I'm going to start with making, whoops, 4 of these circuit boards, and then taking those 4 circuit boards, wrapping them with the copper cable. There we go. There's our basic circuit boards. The next thing I have is our resistors, which I believe are that one. There we go. There's 8 resistors. Then we have our vacuum tubes. There's all 8 of our vacuum tubes. And then the only thing left are the red wires, which I already have placed down here along with the steel casing. So there we go. Like that. And there's our 4 electronic circuits. So that takes care of 4 circuit boards, 8 vacuum tubes, 8 resistors. And so all that's left is what is left there. So I've got to make 3 motors, and then the 18 steel plates, 4 wrought iron plates. I've already got the 3 glass, but I need 3 tin rotors, 2 for pumps, 1 for the chemical reactor itself. So let's go ahead and get that stuff done. However, what I need to do is I need to pop this guy in here. There is our programmed circuit, and then I'm not sure how this guy works. They say you're supposed to be able to, just right-click it. Oh, but I need a screwdriver in my inventory is how this works. Okay, so if I grab the screwdriver, I should be able to just right-click. Maybe? Oh, there it goes. Shift right-click. Okay. And so we're going to reprogram it to a 1. There we go. Hey, look at that. There's even a quest for it. I didn't even realize there would be a quest for it. Let's go ahead and hide that stuff and figure out where this quest is. Oh, right there off of saving metal with bending. So somehow you're supposed to get a programmed circuit, and then there are a couple of ways to program it, but the easiest way, I guess, is to just carry it around with you as long as you have a screwdriver. And then that'll work just like that. So now we can put that in here. Fantastic. Then I need all 4 of these wrought iron plates, and this thing is probably going to chew through my steam because it is quite a bit of power to bend metal. There we go. And then I need 1, 2, and then another 16. So there we go. There's 18 entire steel ingots, and we're going to have to bend those as well. Now let's see, does this... Oh, that just gives me a loot bag. Darn. I was hoping that that might give me an extra circuit, but that isn't the case. So yeah, with that, let's go ahead and put this guy away. And then we'll wait for these to be done. And then the other thing that I need in addition to these is I need enough stuff to make 3 rotors. So that's going to be another 12 pieces of tin. And we'll just wait for this to finish up here. What I have done off camera, let's see here, did that... Okay, so there we go. There's 36 more of these guys. Wrap those into 9, and then if I put those in here, there is a stack and a quarter of coke oven bricks, and then I still have my 26 that are out there in the current one formed. I haven't like ripped that one down just in case I need it. I mean, it only produces charcoal and creosote, and I'm not really using the creosote, so the charcoal is being made in the charcoal pyre anytime I need it. And I've got, yeah, a stack and a half still left over here that I'm using primarily to grind into I'm using it primarily to grind into the coal dust for resistors right now. So we'll go ahead and let those things run to completion. That'll get us our 10 rotors. And then I also need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bronze, because I'm going to need 2 bronze pipes in order to make those pumps. So again, we're just kind of chewing through the steam. That's why I have a nice iron tank full of it. Every once in a while, because running the steam alloy smelter with the clay and the sand uses up like 20 more per second than what my 2 machines can do. So once I finish a stack of it, I tend to pull it out and allow something else to do its job. There is those. So let's see here. I need all of that. I need that. And then what do I need for this thing? Let's see. I need the hammer, the file, and the screwdriver. So I need the file and the hammer. So hammer, file, screwdriver. There are our 3 rotors. So now I can mark off 2 tin rotors there. I can mark off the 3 glass and 1 tin rotor there. 4 wrought iron plates, 18 steel plates. And then I'm about to make the 2 bronze pipes, and then we can make everything here. And then what I'll do is off camera, I'll replace this guy with the wire mill, and I'll get the wires and stuff made up for 2 more not resistors, 2 more circuits. Circuits are, right now at least, best made in pairs because it takes like 3 copper wires each and things like that. So, you know, it just makes it a little more easy on the math and not having leftover materials just sitting around if we do that. So, not that one, not that one, that one. 2 bronze fluid pipes. So there we go. Up next, I'd already made those, so we can put on that, those. Let me see, how do we make this? I'm probably messing it up. Screw, rotor, rubber, wire. Okay, that up there. Those there, and then what was that? It's the screwdriver and wrench. So screwdriver there, wrench is there, and what do I have misplaced? Those 2. There we go. And with that done, I'm having a little bit of lag, sorry. Waiting for my CPU to catch up. There we go. Sorry about that. A little bit of lag. And the screen flicker. Amazing. All right, so there we go. There are our 2 pumps. And I'll lower the sound of those fireworks afterwards. But there are our 2 electric pumps that will unlock for us this basic pump and mining pipe that we can use to get oil, and then we can go into some of the oil refinement stuff. But this is going to be used for that fluid solidifier once I get 2 more circuits. That took care of 2 motors, 2 bronze pipes, 2 pumps, and now all that's left is to make the machines themselves. So yeah, like I say, I'm gonna pull this guy up, and then I may prep. Apologies again. I have too much stuff going on in the background right now. Sorry. I'm going to pause this until I get it straightened out. Okay, sorry about that. Just had a little bit of stuff going on in the background. So yeah, I'm going to make those 2 more circuits, and I might use the bending machine. I might figure out what the lathe needs in terms of anything else. Yeah, it looks like it needs a piston, so I can go ahead and get some of the stuff prepped by using the bending machine now, and then I can end up making, let's say, 4 circuits and prep for making the lathe rather than just letting it sit there. Well, pulling up the bending machine and then having to put it back down again afterwards. So yeah, I will be doing that off camera, getting ourselves prepared, and then I can make all 3 of these guys. Actually, the lathe will probably end up having to wait until I do finish, simply because I'm going to need to make rubber, and then once I've made rubber, I am not going to want to pull that stuff down. So these machines may get moved around or disappear while I run cabling where I want it so that I can have our first machine set up. In the meantime, I'm also going to continue to make these coke oven bricks with the sand and clay, just working our way towards those 24 coke ovens to put to work. So I'll see you back here in a bit. Alright, back again. I got the stuff I needed. I'm running a little bit more of my sand and clay over there to get those coke oven bricks. There we go. But I do have the materials here to go ahead and get this stuff done. So I've got my 2 boards, and then wrap those in copper. There we go. Already have the other stuff over here, so now it's just down to making the vacuum tubes. So there's 4 vacuum tubes. Four of those, 8 of those, 8 of those, and 8 of those, and there we go, 4 resistors. So here we go. Those there, get us our last 2 things. So I've got 4 circuits plus 1 extra circuit. That 1 extra circuit will go towards probably the assembling machine when we get that far, just so that we've already got one for that. In the meantime, there is those 2 and those. These other 9 plates are for the lathe casing. Those 4 plates are for the small gear, and the 3 plates for the piston for the lathe. But the rest of this stuff is here for us. So if we take 2 of those, wrap that guy around, use our wrench. There's our 2 LV machine casings, 2 steel, 4 wrought iron, 4 of those, and there's our 2 machine hulls. Now, the basic chemical reactor, I'm missing 410 cables and a chest. So I guess I'm gonna need, oh man. The worst part about this is getting the rubber done for something like that. So in order to do that, I need double the amount of what I have. Okay, so let's really quick just get this chest knocked out here. So there's the chest, and then I am going to need those 2 guys because I need more of the sticky resin. in order to have enough stuff to make what we need. So there's that one, there's that one, that one, that one, that one. And then I'm going to have to like knock down these leaves here shortly. This should be enough for what I need. Let's see here. I need 4, so I need 8 of these guys. There we go. There's 8. And wow, I just barely have enough sulfur. Otherwise, I'm going to have to go get more made. And so I've got to then extract it. And that's just going to take time. So I'm going to go ahead and get that stuff done. I'm going to go ahead and get that stuff then made. But as you can see, I've got the stuff for the basic chemical reactor. If I put that in place, we've got 1, 2. We've got our extra tin rotor there. I have an LV machine casing, 2 of those guys, and just a motor. No, other way around. So we'll do that. And then for this guy, we've got those 2. That. Let's see here. What else does it want? That up there. 2 of those. And that there. So there we go. There's everything I need minus the 4 cables, which I'm going to have to finish up creating with the 8 rubber that I'll make. Convert that into plates and then wrap that around those 4 tin wires. So I'll do that off camera. In the meantime, I'm going to again still work on the coke brick ovens, figure out a place that I'm going to set it up and get them initially set up, and then we can work on stuff like the hoppers to extract from them, that or conveyor belts, one of the 2, the other set of item pipes for the conveyor belts to apply to them, and then the liquid pipes in order to get it over to the Railcraft steam things. Basically building up these guys right here, the liquid fueled firebox and the solid fueled firebox. And if we look at bio for the masses, after we complete all 624 of those, then we have, it actually wants us to build all 9 of those, as well as the low pressure boiler tanks, which are a whole bunch of iron casing. Fortunately, the iron casing's pretty easy now that we have the alloy smelter and the casing plate cast, so that we can make those things. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same whether you use an assembler or not. It's just some extra screws. So that's a couple extra iron on each one of these guys, but then making 72 of them. So I may end up clearing out one of our iron mines just to get that stuff done and working. So yeah, I'll bring us back in once I've got a little bit more like either planned out, prepped, ready to build, and we'll see you then. All right, finally got some more progress done. Basically, I went ahead and I made the chemical reactor, fluid solidifier, and then, yes, I know it's bare wire, but I really didn't want to bother with making more rubber until I got these guys placed down and actually made. So now that I've got my chemical reactor and my fluid solidifier here, it makes it that much easier to make rubber. There's a quest, this guy right down here, chemical rubber production, that wants you to basically make almost a full stack of rubber and then make almost 2 half stacks of cables. So I'm going to go ahead and plop these guys in. My steam is full at the moment, so while this will chew up quite a bit of power, I'm not too worried about, emptying my tank of steam to run this stuff. But when it's done, then we can look at pulling out the copper and tin in order to make those cables, and of course those cables will go into making all of those all the machines and stuff, it's going to get used. It's not like it's a waste to make those things, just because if we take a look at the MV line, or sorry, the LV line, there are so many machines here that we're going to be making. We are definitely going to go through the 30 tin cables that it wants for that. Most of these machines take at least 4 for making the LV machine hull, and then 2 more for making the actual machine itself. Speaking of machines themselves, I have right here all the materials necessary to make the basic lathe. Rather than bring you guys in and have you, watching me make electronic circuits and motors and pistons, I just went ahead and made the entire thing right there to get that taken care of. So there is our lathe, our Quest No More Filing. Temporarily, I am going to put this guy right here, as long as I can reach that. There we go. And that should put a connection, if I can, if I can see around. Oh, yeah, it's not going to let me see, but there should be a connection there. I should be able to just go ahead and start using this guy. So, yeah, there is our basic lathe. That now makes it to where we can make... we should be able to make now the rods and stuff for half price. Granted, it is going to spit back out dust that we will have to resmelt into ingots to make use of, but at least in terms of what it's doing, we are solid there. That will make making stuff even cheaper. The rods that we use right now go into the vacuum tubes, primarily the steel for the vacuum tubes. I'm not sure what else there is that we really use that for. Like the iron rods for motors, which is used in every single other type of machine, whether it is the piston, the robot arm, the pump, the conveyor, all of those things. So now that becomes a little bit cheaper. Probably the next thing immediately after that that I want to make, even though it's probably not in the right order, I have the basic, or the centrifuge and the assembling machine. Those two, it almost makes sense to go after the basic polarizer. And the reason for that is the basic polarizer doesn't need a circuit. You can just make the basic polarizer and it just works, which would be good if we, pull up the lathe and put it here and then put the polarizer there. The nice thing about the polarizer is the fact that we can make those magnetic rods for the cost of power instead of for 4 redstone each. And since it doesn't take any components, we could have made it sooner. We could have made it as soon as really we made the bending machine and wire mill, but it's nice to have even the rubber cost not need so much. So there we go. Look at that. There is our 63 copper, rubber sheets. Not that we have to have the rubber sheets themselves, but if we go ahead and grab 15 each of these guys, and then we turn those into wires, we can then wrap them in these rubber sheets and be done with that quest, and then we can make use of these things any old time. The copper wires will primarily go into things like the MV motors. Once we get that far along, the LV, of course, is going to go into basically everything. So yeah, need to make the decision, do I go with the centrifuge assembling machine or do I go ahead and get the polarizer done first? And the reason for that is if we take a look at the centrifuge isn't too bad. It's just 2 motors. But if we, the problem is, the electronic circuits, having to make 4 of them. And then we have the basic assembling machine, which needs 2 robot arms and 2 conveyor modules. So that's a total of, I think these are 3 motors each, because you have 2 motors plus 1 motor for the piston. So that's 3, 6, and then 7, 8, 9, 10 motors just to make one assembling machine. So 10 motors, you're talking about, 4 redstone each, so you're talking about 40 redstone. And while I do have 7 stacks left, it would be nice to not have to worry about using it. We can then focus on using the redstone for making stuff like the redstone alloy, that we will make use of as we're making like the circuits and things, but not so much needing it for magnetizing iron rods. So yeah, that is the next things on the list here. And then the other thing that I want to do is I want to make this, I want to make 2 of these sensors. It's going to take 2 circuits to make these sensors, but the idea is that I want to make the crop manager, which is going to take robot arms. So again, that polarizer would be nice. And the other thing is to make a basic miner and go put that over in the nether and start mining up some of the other stuff we'll need. The nether is a good place to get the Relgar dust, which we are going to need for the we're going to need that for the gallium arsenide that is required in order to make the next tier of circuits. The other thing it's good for is making the or getting a hold of any zinc that is there, as well as silver. If we get silver from having a basic miner up and running, we can start doing things like we could make another steam boiler, the solar steam boiler with the silver. That would increase the amount of steam that we're currently getting, kind of as a stopgap measure to upgrading these other things, because we need 9 stacks of coke bricks, and then this leftover stack of 48 is everything that's necessary to make those 24 coke brick ovens, and then that's what we can use to really crank up our steam using those max-sized railcraft boilers. The nice thing about what we've got going on currently is the fact that those railcraft boilers, if we take a look at them under the multi-block goals, they need lots of things like iron plates and iron furnaces, and then these fireboxes, which need plates and rods, and then the box frames, which are more rods. So the nice thing is that now that we have the lathe up and running, getting these guys for half price is going to make that a whole lot cheaper. It's no longer 2 to 1 or even 1.5 to 1. It's now 1 to 1 on these plates, and while we do have to resmelt the bronze, it's 2 to 1 on the bronze rods as well. So that stuff will become cheaper and cheaper when we're talking about making a 9x9 of these solid fuel boiler boxes. And then same thing when it comes to these liquid things. Making the steel plates is nice and cheap. Steel bars, we don't have the assembler yet, so we could wait until we had the assembler, and then once we have the assembler, we can make 3 for 4 instead of 4 for or 6 for 3. So yeah, we can. Oh, but that requires an MV assembler, so that won't happen that way. But at least in this case, we'll be able to make it 2 to 1, and then resmelt the steel dust back into a steel ingot. So yeah, we have our work cut out for us. I am going to go ahead and cut away and be back here when I'm ready to build some of the other things. And again, just I need to start up another stack of this stuff into my alloy smelter to get that guy going. So yeah, see you back here in a bit. After pausing, I noticed that we were running a little low on time, so I figured I'd go ahead and get these last 2 things knocked out. First of which is just the basic polarizer to make those the magnetic iron rods a little bit cheaper. And then the other thing is I went ahead and made everything to make 2 sensors, and that will unlock for us our auto mining quest. We can also go after the advanced seismic prospector if we wanted. More specifically, that I would probably use for something along the lines of the oil underground. But otherwise I may or may not even mess with that thing. But as you can see, by doing that, it unlocks a little bit more. We're now down to the point where we can make the robot arms for the assembler, or that's the circuit assembler, which needs some of these emitters as well. and then also the assembler down here. So I'll be working on those things for the next episode. Oh, I guess I don't actually have them if I don't have the view mode turned off or on. Yeah, so I'm going to be working towards these two guys in the next episode, get ourselves ready to be able to make the assembler and the centrifuge, and we are going to keep on progressing from there. Again, I'm going to be spending a lot of time working on these stacks of coke brick. What am I up to right now? I am just past the second stack, so I still have, 7 more stacks to go. Well, 6.5, because the other half of this one is, the built one that I've already got up. So yeah, got 6.5 stacks to go, which is 13 stacks of sand and clay to run through our nice alloy smelter. So anyway, I'll be doing lots of that. I will be probably prepping some of the pressure tanks and just in general getting ourselves set up to be able to run, I think it's like 8 LV amps, 8 amps of LV power, which is 2 amps of MV power, which is a good healthy chunk for our EBF. And then also from there, I'm going to be working on getting the pump so that we can do oil, and then starting to go down the route of working on oil processing. So we'll see you back here in the next episode. Till then,